welcome back to Not Just Another Jessica. I'm Jessica. Today I got an exciting package in the mail. It's this large triangle. This is my stencil from Cutting Edge Stencils. So I'm going to give this stencil a try here in my home. I haven't done a big stencil like this before, so I'm going to unpackage it and show you what they sent me in the box, and then I'm going to try stenciling an area of my kitchen. I have 4 kids, and we have a kitchen island where they sit for both meals and school, and right here underneath where they sit, it always gets really dirty. So I am going to try to put a stencil here so that any of the shoe kicking or dirt is kind of disguised. I looked into wallpaper and it was really expensive, even for a small area. And this stencil was a lot more affordable, and I thought maybe I could reuse it in other areas by using a different color, or maybe use it on some canvases as a wall hanging. So I felt like it was really open-ended, and it left me a lot of opportunities for different projects. So today I'm going to open the stencil, see what I have, and try to apply it to this area here under my island. So join me as we start another project. All right, let's see what came in our box. I cut the tape off, and now I'm gonna check out the inside. All right, so inside of here we have our stencil, and that came rolled up. Ooh, it looks like it's quite large. Oh, and look at this. So I went with the Wild Berry Damask Stencil. I like how it kind of looks like a traditional wallpaper. In this one with the gold and the black, it looks really elegant, I think. A nice thing with the stencil is you can control the background and the foreground color. So you can change the look by painting the back wall and then stenciling a different color on front of it. My kit also came with sets for edges. Then here I got a different stencil, and this one I thought I could use to decorate around our fireplace. It has a really kind of drab builder grade tile, so I thought about maybe stenciling the tile with this. And then they threw in some freebies here from Cutting Edge Stencil along with a thank you note. I got a cat, a cactus, an arrow, and then some coupons and different things came with it. 15% off your next order, I'm sure. Okay. There's instructions here on how to use this stencil. There are steps. And then this is your stenciling kit. It comes with a level that you attach to the stencil, a roller brush, and a paintbrush. So it says, stenciling supplies: your cutting edge stencil, base coat paint for touch-ups, stencil paint, acrylic or latex, stencil brush or dense foam roller, low tack painter's tape, paper towels, paint tray or paper plate, spray adhesive optional, sample board, cardboard or poster board optional. So I'm going to be following the instructions that came with this kit so that I can try to have a nice outcome. Here's the logo of the company, the Cutting Edge Stencil. I'll link their website in the description box. They had so many to choose from. It was hard to narrow it down, and so many really cool looking projects on their website. So I'm going to get started here and see what my next step is. It says that the walls need to be clean, dust free, and in good condition. It says we do not recommend stenciling textured walls as paint seepage can occur. So, masking. When stenciling, we usually use low tack painter's tape such as 3M blue tape to avoid pulling up any base coat. So, we're going to do that, and then we'll begin painting. It looks like our first step is to get our walls ready, and then to use the painter's tape around the stencil like this to hold it to the wall. And then we'll be painting over it and just kind of repeating that process until we cover the entire area. All right, the first step is to get the wall ready. So my wall is clean and ready to go. And then I use the blue tape to put the stencil up here on the wall. I attached the level to the top and tried to get it as close to the center as possible. And looking at this stencil, it has little dots, and these are the things we're going to be lining up as we move the stencil around and fill in around it. So this will be my first one. Seems like it's kind of standing up off the wall, so we'll see how it turns out. If it doesn't go well, it is just paint. We can paint back over it and it will be okay. I'm going to go with the maroon color that matches my curtains. So I'm going to go and get that on a plate, and we'll do our first roll on this and see if it stays within the stencil, even though it's really kind of standing up more than I thought it would off the wall. So let's give this a try and see how it turns out. So this is the paint I'm going to be using. It's the Folk Art paint in color 456E True Burgundy. I have put it on my paper plate here to use as my paint tray, and I'm going to be using the roller that came with the Cutting Edge Design stenciling set. It's a small one, so I'm just going to use the paint here on the paper plate and apply it to the wall. I'm going to be careful not to have too much paint on my roller so that it spreads underneath the design, but this is a first try, so we'll see how it goes. So first I'll try to evenly apply the paint to my roller here. I've noticed that the roller that I received is kind of misshapen. It doesn't really want to roll, so I'm having trouble getting it to coat the entire roller. I'll help it along here, I guess. Maybe once it gets going, it'll work a little better. Yeah, this is not the best roller. I'm just going to try to maybe scrape some of the paint off of it. Okay. I'm going to get a piece of, I've just been wrapping Christmas presents, and I have some insides of the wrap. I'm going to try to get my roller started by rolling it onto this, because right now it is a globby mess. Alright, so I've rolled it back and forth on there, and that looks a lot better. So I'm going to do that again just to get it going. There we go. Alright, so now I have an even amount of paint, and I just used this scrap of paper to get my roller started. Now I'm going to carefully apply paint to the wall. Just taking my time here. I've done stenciling before. One of my favorite stencil projects I did was at my old house. I got a table secondhand, and it was kind of a white farm table, and it wasn't really the look I was going for. I had a mid-century modern house, so I sanded the tabletop down completely, stripped all the paint off of it, and then I did a white stencil in kind of a damask design, and then over the white stencil I applied a varnish that had a pigment to it, and it stuck to the wood but not the stencil. And then I sealed the table, and it was just so beautiful, and it was really fun because the table was really affordable, and so was the stencil and the paint and everything. Nothing in it was expensive, but the product at the end just looked so neat, and it was such a one-of-a-kind piece. You could go to other people's homes, and you never came across the same table anywhere else because I had made it myself. And that is something that I like about doing projects here at home, is that when you take the time to customize your stuff, whether it be stenciling your wall or painting your cabinets or repainting your furniture, you get a unique piece that no one else has. So let's see, we're about done here with this. Let's see, well, that's looking pretty good. I can see some parts that maybe need a wee bit more paint. They're looking a little thin, but aside from that, this is looking nice. It's a pretty good match for my cabinets. I was happy to find this paint. It was only, I want to say it was like 99 cents a container at our local Walmart. And I purchased all of the ones that they had in this color, and I think they only had 6 or 7, so I'm not really sure if I have enough or not, but time will tell, I suppose. So there that is. I'll get a little bit of a close-up on what we have here. See, I just painted over the whole thing, and you know, when you look at an angle, you can see underneath it at the parts that didn't get covered. So now I'm going to use delicate hands and lift it up and see what we have here. And there we are. There's our first of many. So I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I think it looks really nice. I'm going to keep working on this and cut back in and show you the process that I do for matching it up. And Cutting Edge Stencil, part of the reason I chose to go with this company is they have a special smaller stencil that you use for edges. So I'm going to show you how that works. But I think this looks really nice. This was a very affordable stencil and dollar paint. And I think when we're done, we're going to have a really nice wallpaper effect for not a lot of money. So I'm going to keep working. I am now using the top stencil, which is a smaller piece of the large pattern, and I've matched up the two dots that are here, there, and made sure it's level. And I'm gonna go ahead and paint that with my roller. All right, so here's what we have so far. We've been working our way down. One of the tips that I would have is to be patient while you're using your stencil, because as you use it, it gets a little bit of paint behind it. So you can try to dry it with a rag towel, or you can hang it up and wait for it to dry. So what I've been doing is right here at the end of my work zone, I've just been taping the stencil on the side of the counter so it can hang to dry, so that both the back and the front of it, the paint dry on it, and so that it doesn't get all over the house. So that's been an easy way to keep it drying as I work. If your stencil gets too wet with paint, it can cause a print from the back onto the front. So one of the things you can do is put it on a towel that you don't care for, because it's going to get dirty, and rub the extra paint off, and then tape it back up to the counter to let it dry a little longer. That'll really cut down on the time you have to wait in between doing each one, because it gets the big globs off that would have otherwise smeared on the wall. Well, I have completed the stenciling of the front of the island where my kids' chairs are. And here's our finished product. Well, I'm all done with my stencil wall, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. As far as cost goes, the stencil was about $45, and the kit of little brushes and levels and attachments, I think, was $20. And they had a $25 off coupon if you spent a certain amount. So I think it was roughly $50 or $60 for the stencil and everything else. I ended up using 3 containers of the folk art paint, so at $1 a piece, these were $3. So it was a really affordable project. Did it turn out perfectly? No. If you look up close, there's a lot of little parts where it over spilled or there wasn't quite enough paint, but I am going to take it as a win because I think it looks very nice. Most of the time it's going to have stools in front of it, and something that I try to do is to not be a defeated perfectionist, because if you always want stuff to be perfect, that can almost be paralyzing to the point where you don't even want to start because you might do it wrong. I think it's a lot better to just give it a shot, do the best you can, and just be pleased with the results. So that's the end of stenciling this frontage here. I'm going to try to use the stencil now that I have it to do a few other projects as well. I thought this was really enjoyable, and it didn't take very long. As far as time goes, I think I started around 10:30, 11, and I finished around 1:30. And during that time, I served my family lunch, helped clean up from lunch, and so it didn't take too long. There's a lot of passive wait time while you wait for either your stencil to dry or your wall to dry. So it's certainly something where you could start on it and then be watching a movie, or even working from home, send a few emails, do another stencil, you know, run, change the laundry, whatever responsibilities you might have. But definitely a fun and affordable project, and I look forward to using my Cutting Edge Stencil again. Thanks for watching Not Just Another Jessica, and I hope to see you again. Goodbye.